Hey, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're gonna be answering your comments and questions. Now, first off, I just wanna say, sorry, it's been a little bit light on the content end of last week. Long story short, I was having some computer issues. My good friend who works in IT stepped in, helped me out, so that kind of took me out for the weekend, but we're back answering questions and yeah, let's just jump right into it. I've said this before, but with tariffs fluctuating on and kind of the uncertainty, I would say there's a very high likelihood that you see higher ski prices for next season. And right now, they way over ordered. Ski shops and retailers can't seem to get rid of skis quick enough. So you're in this kind of weird valley of ski prices. As always, I would highly recommend looking at buying products if you need them, or if they're kind of on your radar, buy them now rather than waiting for prices to go up. As always, I will have affiliate links down below, so if you're shopping with Evo, Backcountry, REI, any of those places, please use those links, as that is what allows me to be an independent reviewer. I don't get paid by any of these brands, so that's what makes that possible. So if you like this kind of content, if you're shopping, please use those links, or if you're gonna shop later, you can use them. I think it tracks you for like 30 days. First question comes from Josh, IE9CD. They said, any thoughts on Scott skis? Interested in what you think of the Mission and or SEA. Well, the truth is I have not skied on Scott skis. That's kind of a more niche brand that, I don't know. I've like had Scott poles. I've had friends, I think, that even like Scott made goggles for a while, but I've not skied on their skis. Oh God, I knew somebody who had a mountain bike by Scott. Anyway, long story short, I don't know anything about their current products. I've reached out to them and not heard back when I was kind of a smaller channel. But yeah, to give you the honest truth, I'm not sure. I think Scott used to be based out of Sun Valley. I know Smith Optics was, and I think Scott was, or they had a branch here, but they no longer do. I mean, I'm not in Sun Valley now, I'm in Boise, but over in Sun Valley. But yeah, other than that, I don't know, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I don't know much about those skis and have not had the chance to ski on them. I'm totally open to it, but it's not something I can go and pick up from the store. It's not something I can go and demo. And it's such a, I don't wanna say unpopular, but it's kind of more of a niche brand. And yeah, I'm open to it, but no experience personally. That's great, Elliott. First comment, it's just something you have no idea about. All right, okay, whatever. All right, Alita Maytalk says, hi Elliott, nice vid. I'm finally mostly sold on the Black Crow's Octos, but I'm not sure about which length. I'm intermediate, 5'11", 180, and I'm between the 173 or 179. I'm leaning towards 173, but the Black Crow's page leans me towards the 179. I'm not sure. Any input? Appreciate, thanks. Oh yeah, that's tricky because you're intermediate, but at 5'11", you're fairly tall. And I wouldn't say that 179 is a stretch. I'd say like 179 is kind of the baseline for that. And as you improve, I mean, some of it depends on the ski, right? Like if you were on a Volkl M7 Mantra, I would tell you maybe to downsize a little bit, or something that's like really powerful or heavy or dense, Nordica Enforcer or whatever. But with the Black Crow's Octo, it's a short radius ski already. It's fairly forgiving. I would lean towards the 179. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you. You know, make your own decisions, pick it based on what you care about. I have a whole video about ski link, so maybe watch that. But my off the hip gut reaction is that 179 should probably be fine. All right, Ryan KK2RR says, you mentioned chatter. I currently have a set of the Blizzard Bonafides that blaze down the hill without chatter at speed. Don't know if you've skied any of the Bonafides, but wondered how you'd compare them. Yeah, I've not skied the Bonafides. I think by the time they were kind of on my radar, or I would have even had like the means to ski on them, because they're not at any of my local demo shops, and Blizzard is not one of the companies that works with me. So every Blizzard ski that I've skied on, I've paid out of pocket for, and this one's just never come across my desk of something that I could like rent or demo. And now I believe Blizzard has sunsetted the Bonafides, if I'm not mistaken, just based on some of the comments I read. I should look into that more. So anyway, I believe that they're sunsetting the Bonafide. I haven't had a chance to review them. As far as dampness of the M7 Mantra though, I would say it's pretty on par with like a Nordica Enforcer 99, or so a ski like that, if that gives you kind of a frame of reference. I would say they're definitely more damp than a Blizzard Rustler or a Blizzard Anomaly. I'd say they're somewhere in the dampness range of more damp than a Salomon QST or a Black Crow's Justis, and about level, maybe a little bit more damp than a Nordica Enforcer 99. If that gives you some kind of frame of reference. All right, Scott Pratico 1315 says, owned the DPS Wailer 112 RP 10 years ago. Most bestest powder ski ever? I think so. The Kaizen inherits the short radius, bigger rocker formula, so your recommendation is spot on. Size up and prepare to be amazed. That's what I think too. Like, there's so much kind of aggressive rocker in the tips that you can really size up and still have a very maneuverable ski. The Wailer actually just came back, I saw, I think last year. They brought back the Wailer, and I know it had a cult following before. So I wonder, Scott, if you've skied on the new Wailer and what your thoughts are. I'm trying really hard to ski on more DPS skis. The problem is that DPS skis are very expensive, and they sent me the one ski, but I haven't heard from them since then. So, like right now, skis are pretty cheap, and I'm looking at buying a couple to review for next year, just because it seems like that makes more sense than just waiting for every brand. At least in the case of a few skis, I know you guys are really interested in them. So as the channel has grown and there's a little bit more funding to try to go out and get those skis, I'm looking at buying some of them. The problem with DPS is that they're so expensive that I don't want to get something that has a ton of overlap with the Kaizens that I've already reviewed. So I'm trying to be careful about it, but I am looking at reviewing the Wailer myself. And I love the Kaizen. I think DPS makes some of the best powder skis. I think it feels so good on your feet. Definitely once you get into the harder stuff that pings around a little bit, but I was so blown away by the Kaizen 112. And it would be interesting to hold a pair side by side with the Wailers, because from what I've seen online, it looks like there's a lot of the same kind of thought process that went into the design. But I don't know. Maybe I should reach out to the DPS guy and see if I can get an explanation on the difference, because I do find that stuff very interesting. DPS skis are very nice. Because of their price point, though, they are a little bit more niche. So it's not like I want to go out and buy 3 or 4 pairs of DPS skis anytime soon. But there's a lot that I'm really curious about, and I've seen some for some pretty good deals. And then they kind of dissolved before I got to them. But anyway, great comment. Thank you so much, Scott. All right, Robert Gore 9449 says, just shout out to say I've been watching your videos a few months and really like them, even when the skis you're discussing aren't relevant to me. Yeah, I do that too. You know, with tech reviews or even other ski review channels, I try not to watch them if it's something I'm planning on reviewing, because I just don't want stuff to eke in. But there's some stuff where I'm like, I have no way of ever reviewing that ski. It's so obscure. I'm never gonna buy it. It's not even kind of on my radar. And I'm like, oh, what is the deal with this ski? The problem is that some of the reviews, I feel like they don't really tell you much, or they're not as thorough as I would like to be. That's not a dig on them. They're just, you know, whatever. Like on some of the old skis on channels that aren't around anymore, I'm like, man, I wish that ski history and kind of, you know, like the history of designs for different models, I just wish that it was cataloged a little bit better, because I love seeing old designs. I love seeing things. But the problem is that, like, the websites of the ski makers don't catalog it that well. And then if you look at a ski graphic, it doesn't tell you what year it is. So a lot of it's like going off of memory, or going off of someone else's information, or looking at old listings from like Evo or some other kind of retailer. And I don't know, I just really wish I could see how things have progressed year over year a little bit better. Oh, speaking of old ski designs, this is a rant. This has nothing to do with your comment. I'll get back to the comment, I promise. I was skiing with my buddy, and he had an old pair of Volkl Mantras, and I have the M7, which I love. It's a great ski. It's kind of in my go-to spring skiing ski. And he had the old Volkl Mantra, and it had this beautiful art. It was kind of red on white, and there was this like kind of outline. I miss how kind of artsy and beautiful ski top sheets used to be. It always was kind of like, I feel like I timed it the worst way possible. I was on race skis, and like freestyle skis had really cool designs, and now that I'm kind of in the all mountain category, those designs are kind of in the same track of racing. I don't mind them. I like kind of the simple designs, and it makes it so, you know, if you want to resell it to someone, it's not based on their taste in art or anything. But I do miss just kind of some of the cool art and being excited for really, really stunning graphics year over year. I feel like maybe that's part of the appeal of the Atomic Bend, although those are just nice skis in general. But I feel like that's the one line that's still really doing it well. I'm sure there's a good reason that they do it. I'm sure it makes it easier to sell and move them off of shelves. But I miss some of the cooler art. Especially, I snowboarded for 2 or 3 years, and you would see really cool kind of anywhere from like graffiti style to modern designs on snowboards. I really loved the art on that, and I wish that would kind of come back to skiing, because those old Volkl Mantras look so cool. And I was kind of surprised, you know, holding the old version versus the new version side by side. Anyway, back to Robert's comment. But based solely on the review you did on the Monterey ARs, I bought a pair. No, it was on a sale. Yeah, they hardly ever are. Yes, I'm still very happy. Oh, good. Oh, God. You never know how that's going to go. It's like a coin toss. You were so right. And to me, they are so versatile. I got them recently, so end of season here in Utah. I've had them on freeze, thaw, hard morning, and in 4 inches of fresh over the top frozen snow. And they were an absolute joy. Control, speed, confidence, they deliver it all. Thanks, Elliott. You did me a great favor. Oh, Robert, that is such a nice comment. I'm so glad to hear you love your skis. Honestly, comments like this is really what keeps me going. I am so glad that this lined up for you. I don't think that they're like not versatile, and maybe I don't know if I said that in my review. I just think that the versatility or the range has limits, right? You're not going to take a Stockli Montero AR in a foot of snow. And for some people, they only really care about like the 16 inches to 6 inches of snow range, and then they stay home the rest of the day. They treat skiing a little bit more like surfing. Whereas some people, like me included, I like both ends of it, and so I want a ski that carves really well, especially when it's well groomed or when the snow's firm, or even when it's soft and has a little bit of give. And in that case, that's where the Monero really shines. And so for your range, you know, like you said, 4 inches of snow and everything this side of it, it works perfect for you. And I'm so happy to hear you love your skis. Thank you for the nice comment. The last comment is, do you have a jungle gym review channel? That one made me laugh out loud, actually. It's a Lifetime jungle gym. It's metal. We've had other jungle gyms in the past. I've had ones where I had to like build them. They were wood. I was building them forever. I will say this is a much nicer jungle gym. We got it right before COVID. It was on sale at Costco. I built it and then we moved. So I had to build it, take it apart, put it back together. In hindsight, the only thing I would have done differently is hired Lifetime to build it. I want to say it's like a couple $100, and they do such a good job. When I took it apart in like 2 or 3 big pieces, and so you had to like hold it up, balance it on itself while you built some of the legs out from underneath it. And it just wasn't possible to do with one person. So they came down, I think they charged me like $50 because it only took 15 minutes or something for them to finish off my work. And, you know, in hindsight, I would have had them build it from the beginning because those guys are so much faster. Like for them, they probably could have built the whole structure in an hour and a half, and it took me 5 or 6 hours in the dark. So anyway, if you want to know about the jungle gym, but during COVID, I think people forget that a lot of the playgrounds were shut down during COVID, so my kids had nowhere to play. And this playground was such a huge relief and so valuable to them because they couldn't play during COVID. You couldn't do play dates, you couldn't go to playgrounds, and this is all they had. So yeah, the playground's awesome. It's also allowed me to shoot these videos, so I'm grateful for it. But yeah, this is my Lifetime playground. Maybe I'll do a full tour and review of it. You know, I'm not paid or sponsored by Lifetime, obviously. But, you know, that would be a good sponsor. Maybe that's somebody I should be emailing right now. See if I can find an affiliate link for playgrounds. So, anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. We also have memberships down below. If you're shopping for skis, please use those affiliate links. I can't believe how much that has helped the channel. It's allowed me to like buy products that I could not get my hands on otherwise. It's allowed me to give my honest opinion on things and not take any sponsor money, not take any you know, money from brands. I know that there's a couple of creators right now that are collecting money to make content. I know a lot of the magazines do that, and I don't. There may be sponsors in the future. I could see, you know, like a ski sock brand or something sponsor me, and then, you know, but nothing. I don't take any money from any of like the ski makers because it just seems unethical and it doesn't meet my standards. Maybe that's foolish. Maybe I'm, you know, leaving money on the table, but I'd rather do things the right way because that's really what matters to me, right? What's the point of this channel if you're constantly thinking, oh, well, Elliott took money from Rosignol or Volkl or whatever, and none of the, I'm not talking about any brand specifically, but oh, Elliott takes money from these brands, so obviously the scores are gonna be higher. That defeats the whole purpose of this channel, and I don't know, I don't want to do it. I'd rather be broke and stick to my guns and tell you guys the honest truth, because otherwise the whole thing kind of crumbles in my opinion. But that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just me being overly virtuous, but it's important. It's important to the videos I watch, and it's important to me for the videos I make. So without further ado, thank you so much. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.